But now, soft on China, tough on America. That's the focus of tonight's angle. So, as we were just talking about with JD, China's blanketing our country with fentanyl, killing tens of thousands of Americans every day, as it imprisons hundreds of thousands of Muslims in re-education camps. Then, of course, it jails dissidents and forces Christians to go underground. American CEOs keep quiet so they can keep getting rich there. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, Apple's Tim Cook, Delta Airlines' Ed Bastian, well, they all come to mind. But these same individuals, and many more like them, have had no problem condemning perceived inequities in our own country, especially in Republican states. Indeed, it's kind of an annual rite of spring that elites express their outrage and their moral indignation about something happening in a red state. Last April, it was the manufactured controversy about Georgia's then-new election integrity law. CEOs expressed their disapproval on social media, and the virtue-signaling buffoons at Major League Baseball actually moved the All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver over the issue. A total swing and a miss. Of course, a year before that was the death of George Floyd, and the new mantra of the liberal power players that American law enforcement was all systemically racist.
We have to rethink the nature of policing in America and reform our broken and racist criminal justice system.
The actions of the American people to speak out against that specifically manifested in police brutality.
Finally declaring in one voice that, yes, Black Lives Matter.
And now the fancy people are upset again, this time about Florida's legislation barring the teaching of gender identity and sexual propaganda to kindergartners through third grade. They're also fuming over a Texas law declaring a number of sex change procedures for children as abusive. 60 companies, including Google, Facebook, and Disney, have taken a bold public stand against Texas and Florida measures, claiming they are inhumane and discriminatory. Now, Disney's one of the largest employers in Florida. It first was silent on that parental rights and education bill, but they eventually caved to the demands of the liberal mob. Disney halted all political donations in Florida over the bill. And CEO Bob Chapek had to prostrate himself at the woke altar.
I called Governor DeSantis this morning to express our disappointment and concern that if legislation becomes law, it could be used to unfairly target gay, lesbian, non-binary, and transgender kids and families.
False. And what hypocrites. Disney does not care about minority rights or human rights, because if it did, they wouldn't be cozying up to one of the most repressive regimes on the planet, China. Projects there for Disney include the $5.5 billion spent developing Shanghai Disney, also their expansion of their smaller park in Hong Kong, and the launching of the mega TV channel, the Disney Channel in China, very important to them. Now, somehow Disney's deep pain and concern disappears when money is on the line. Or does Disney have an exception to its compassion meter when actual physical torture is involved? An activist shareholder named Paul Chesser called out Disney this week at its annual meeting, saying, so while the rest of the corporate world is running away from the stigma of slavery, Disney is praising the local communists. Meanwhile, Disney executives say they will not produce any new films in Russia due to Vladimir Putin's aggression against Ukraine. Since when do ESG principles mean you get to support genocidal regimes in Asia, but you must oppose colonial warmongering in Europe? Seems like cognitive dissonance to me. Well, Disney is also so in bed with China, it even rejected a proposal to conduct an annual evaluation of how human rights are impacted by its business dealings within foreign countries. Now, we all know what's going on here. They mouth these liberal platitudes to placate the wokesters, and activists left here and those at home, they feel good for a while. And then they fall over themselves to appease China in order to expand their market share. It's not just Disney, though. Many other Fortune 500 companies are guilty of this as well. They're bought and paid for. They're complicit, just like the Biden family. The White House, of course, came out vociferously against Florida's parental rights bill, lying about what it really is. Yet a few decades ago, Senator Biden actually agreed with that idea. So reporters circled back to Jen Psaki today on the Biden 180-degree evolution.
Why did he do that, and can you describe how his thinking has evolved over the years?
Well, I think that you have seen the president speak passionately about his view that a bill like this, a bill that would discriminate against families, against kids, put these kids in a position of not getting the support they need at a time where that's exactly what they need, is discriminatory. It's a form of bullying. It is horrific. I mean, the president has spoken to that.
Should never describe China like that. Objection. Witness refuses to answer the question.
Was there a reason you supported the same policy, though, in the 90s when we were all in school?
I think what's important to note here is how outspoken the president has been against discrimination, against kids, against members of the LGBTQI+ community. And what we're looking at here is a bill that would propagate misinformed, hateful policies and impact children.
She will not answer the question. You know why? Because she can't. The Florida bill is eminently reasonable. In fact, I think it doesn't go far enough. Why should public schools be teaching children controversial sexual subjects at all? Why is it controversial at all to believe this? Well, the answer, it's not.
Companies that have made a fortune off being family friendly and catering to families and young kids, they should understand that parents of young kids do not want this injected into their kids' kindergarten classroom. They're going to criticize the fact that we don't want transgenderism in kindergarten and first grade classrooms. If that's the hill that they're going to die on, then how do they possibly explain lining their pockets with their relationship from the Communist Party of China?
Boom. It's politically very smart for Governor DeSantis to stand firm and to call out this moral posturing for what it is. These flaccid CEOs may cower at the radical's slightest complaints, but conservatives never should. If Democrats think these are such winning issues for them, I encourage them to run on them in November. Then they'll see just what American parents think about their moral duplicity. And that's The Angle.